Hello, my friends. Welcome to Wasted Attention. We got a special episode today. Animal sat down to talk with David Ellefson, one of the nicest, coolest dudes in metal, a legend. Sat down. It was a phone call interview for about 10 minutes. I think they chatted, which is cool because Ellefson has to be incredibly a busy guy. You know, to sit down and talk to a dude from Northwest Indiana, it's pretty special, man. Oh, shout out to him, man. Did you know David Ellefson had a coffee company? I didn't. So I'm going to get out of your guys' way, and I'll pick this back up in the outro. So here he is, Mr. David Ellefson.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Wasted Attention's weekly podcast. Today I am joined by Mr. David Ellefson. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you.
Good. Happy New Year to you as well. We wanted to have you on the show today to talk to you about your coffee. We are huge metal and coffee enthusiasts. To be honest with you, we're all in our 30s now, so metal and coffee kind of fuel us, and you're the main supplier. So
nice. Well, thank you.
No problem. No problem. So I have to ask you, there have been so many interviews that we've watched and done our research on. Kind of talk us through the beginning process of this company.
Well, initially I just wanted to put my name on a bag of coffee and have somebody send me a royalty check. It's kind of like a simple merch item if you want to know the truth. And I guess that's initially how it started. We put it up online. But, you know, quite honestly, right from the very beginning, we didn't just say roast in peace by such and such coffee company as a signature roast of mine. We started it as Ellefson Coffee Company. So I guess we already had the framework of it pretty much in place from the beginning. And then, you know, we started rolling out the roast, and we started thinking of, funny, cool, heavy metal names, Roast in Peace, Kenya Thrash, the She-Wolf coffee, which then has transitioned over to Rock and Rose. And, so everything about it has had this heavy metal, rock and roll feel to it. A lot of things that tied directly back into my own musical legacy. And then, pretty early on, we started to outgrow our first roaster, who was kind enough to get me into the business. And then we moved up to a roaster up in Minneapolis, and now we have a roaster here in my hometown of Phoenix, Arizona, that does the bulk of our North American coffee supplying for us. And now we have a roaster over in the UK as well. So.
Oh, wow.
Opening up some accounts across Europe now, and my friends in the Motley Brew, who are a tea company, actually, they go out to a lot of the large festivals and bend tea. They were kind enough to bring Ellefson Coffee along as a coffee partner with them, so they did a couple festivals over there as well, Bloodstock and the Stone Free Festival in the UK this last summer. So it was, starting to get a nice, getting the word out, and people like to have coffee at festivals, and it's, like you say, it's not just for breakfast anymore.
Exactly. No, that's the truth. Now, as far as the dates that you're going to be doing in the summer with Megadeth, are you guys going to be planning on having any outlets with your merch there, or?
The Megadeth stuff we usually try to keep pretty Megadeth-centric, and since Ellefson Coffee is my own thing that sits a little separate of that and doesn't say Megadeth on it, usually we don't bring that in, which is fine. I'm fine with that. We kind of keep our businesses, in their proper buckets and categories and stuff.
Well, that makes sense. As far as your coffee brands and your all the different varieties that you have, what would you say is your best selling? What is the one thing that everybody seems to gravitate towards?
Well, Roast in Peace is certainly our flagship roast. It's a dark roast, but it's not super heavy. It's just got a nice, clean flavor all across, the spectrum. It's the Arabica bean, which I like, as opposed to the Robusta. So to me, Woodland, our whole thing is, we do premium coffees. We don't at this point have any sort of lower priced commodity level coffee. Even some of the big names you see, when they put coffee in the grocery store, it's a much cheaper commodity level coffee. And some people don't care, and look, maybe one day we'll be there too. But for right now, our whole thing is keeping a real quality to a premium brand.
Well, that's awesome. Now, as far as all the beans go, I know that you have a business partner. How involved are you on picking the roaster, or how's that work?
Well, certainly picking the roaster for sure. I mean, our Minneapolis roaster came to us when we opened up our retail outlet in my hometown of Jackson, Minnesota. That's how we, got turned on to them. And And then our roaster here in Phoenix came by way of a chef friend of mine who was familiar with them and was singing their praises. And they all do something a little different. It's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like getting a producer to do an album. You can take the same band with the same songs, go in the same studio, but with a different producer, you're going to get a different result.
Right.
And so roasters are kind of the same thing. They have their own. It's definitely an art, and it's definitely a learned craft and skill that they have. And they have their own flavor mixes and their own beans that they draw from. I think since when we started our with Ellefson Coffee Company with our initial roaster, that's really where we set up our flavor profiles. So from there, it's kind of like once you have a swatch of paint, you can go to Home Depot, Ace Hardware, or, in any number of, paint stores. And as long as you have that swatch, they'll basically use their paints to create a paint that's that same color. And it's the same thing in coffee roasting. We have our flavor profiles, so we can take those now to pretty much any roaster, and they'll use whatever variety of beans and roasting process to create that same flavor profile. And so it's which is good because you'd hate to. It's almost like a recipe of sorts. If there really is no such thing as a coffee recipe, but if there was, it's probably as close as I could describe it.
Right. Well, it's quite admirable. It seems that your palate is so refined now because, you talk to non-coffee drinkers and they go, a cup is a cup. But here you have such a passion of explaining, every different piece of it. And that's awesome to hear.
Yeah. No, it's really been a fun process. It's been a fun thing to learn. And, I like business and it's fun to, it's part of it, obviously, is the coffee. Just like when you start a band, you initially start with the songs and music and sort of the brotherhood about it. But then, it comes time to, okay, now we got to market it and sell it and, do that whole thing. And that's not for everybody,
Right.
It's one thing to enjoy a nice cup of coffee. It's a whole other thing to be in the coffee business and selling it and marketing it. And, I think for us, our niche is we're proud to be a rock and roll and heavy metal coffee company.
Oh, absolutely, and especially now with different global reach that you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. The good news is we got fans everywhere. Look, sometimes fans will buy a bag or two just to have as a kind of like a merchandise item, kind of a take-home feel-good thing. And that's it. They may not even drink coffee. They may just want one bag and just sit on their shelf next to their Megadeth figurines or whatever they may have, and that's fine, but then there are people like you and certainly me who are, repeat offenders. We like to keep our coffee supply flowing and, we're always working on ways, especially since we started as an online at EllefsonCoffeeCo.com. This really all just started as an online business. Probably the most difficult part there is the shipping. And so now we're getting into Amazon, which will help take those shipping costs down,
Right.
And of course they are everywhere. So it's really, that's a pretty cool next step for us now.
Absolutely. And now getting into the Amazon game, especially I saw on the website that you guys offer a discount if you get a 6-month supply of the coffee too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just try to do things to entice and even reward, our sort of steadfast customers. And again, like I say, not everybody is, going to want even more than just a bag or two of coffee. Some people don't drink that much coffee, but then there are us coffee junkies, and we like our job of showing up on a regular basis. So,
exactly.
For them, we offer the subscription program.
Right. And I saw in an interview you had said that before you used to do a little bit of half and half in your coffee, but you were starting to kind of cut back on that. Where are you at now?
With my own personal coffee?
You got it.
I've just kind of changed it. I mean, about a year ago, look, at 54, I'm always keeping track of my health and working out and diet and everything else. And, for me, I've modified it a bit. I stopped putting the cream in my coffee. I try not to use any artificial sweeteners and artificial creamers and things like that. Now I'm just doing black coffee with 2 ice cubes in it. Which I just finished right before I got on the phone with you, but that's one way that I like to do it. And one of the things that I found doing that, and I kind of learned as we were doing it, it's called cupping, in wine, they do, sort of the wine tasting. thing. In coffee tasting is called cupping, where you sort of put the cups of coffee next to each other and you sort of flavor, you sample the flavor profiles. And it's interesting how coffee can really change, either being black, adding even just an ice cube or two changes it a little bit, and certainly adding sugars and honey, and adding milk and cream and things like that. It really changes the profile of the coffee. And sometimes coffee that doesn't taste so good with no cream tastes amazing with cream. And all of a sudden it's like you can start pairing it up with desserts and different things or, breakfast items. And other coffees just have just a natural, nice taste to it, just, plain without anything in it. So, I've learned to probably be a little more aware of that stuff now that I'm, dealing in the coffee business myself. So more and more, I think I like to just let the natural flavors of the coffee come out now without putting something over top of it.
Absolutely. That's the way to do it. That's the way to experience it. Us at Wasted Attention, we're going to be putting an order in. We're going to be trying everything out, and we'll be doing a follow-up episode, doing a little bit of a taste test.
Yeah.
We appreciate your time, and I know you're a really busy guy, and I really appreciate your time talking to us today.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Have a good one, and Happy New Year to you.
You too, Dave. Same to you.
Well, there you have it. Mr. David Ellefson of Megadeth talking about his coffee company. I got to say, I've never been more interested in a conversation about coffee in my life. So, to be honest, he could talk about his collection of exotic shoelaces, and I'd still be hooked. So, shout out to him. That's all we got, man. I hope you guys enjoy this shit. We'll see you next week. Bye.